happy to be here, and thanks for hosting this. Jean Duchaz, again, Jodorowsky, and Alfred North Whitehead. And so these three, Jean Duchaz was a poet that Beckett gave a lecture on at Trinity College in 1930 in Ireland. And Jodorowsky is a filmmaker, musician, writer. He has a new film coming out. And Alfred North Whitehead was a mathematician and a philosopher, kind of a process philosophy and a unification kind of system rather than a bifurcation. So what I'm going to read to you tonight is from Beckett's lecture on Jean Duchaz and the movement that Duchaz claimed to invent called Le Contrantisme. So I'll read a fragment from this, or an extract. The radiant note of all his dislocations and the very essence of his disquiet is this: to feck off out of it all, a spur blighted in due course by being squandered. The empty and fragmentary life, as it emerges from his journal, the sole source at our disposal, is one of those horizontal lives, without apogee, wholly linear, a freak of motion impossible to expedite or retard, launched but not initiated by the accident of birth, terminated but not concluded by the accident of death, a void, hollow, untenanted abstraction from the mechanized vulgarities of the epidermis, which are activated without the soul becoming aware of them. Of social life, no trace. Reading his journal, one senses that for this man, ineluctably, but quite beyond pride or disdain, social life, societal custom, every tedious, discrete convention of human affliction, love, friendship, renown, and what have you, was a mere title, or the type of a tittle, unavoidable like friction, a condition of its adherence to the surface of the earth. To wonder whether Jean Duchaz, however insensibly and indifferently, possessed a social life as you have an inner life would be much the same thing as saying that he had no such thing, since insensibility and indifference hardly square with the sacrosanct tradition of the cave, fear, ignorance, and fellowship shriveled up by the thunder. Excluding and excluded, he frustrated the social contract without castigating it. It would have been pointless to expect of him a general estimate, a comprehensive critique of local and actual proclivities. Quote, the fauna exists in too many forms, end quote. That is all he would have been able to say. Always the same fauna. The mystery, accepted as such, dispassionately at Marseille, as elsewhere, except that there it was too stressful, too infinitely protracted. It depressed him and compelled him to feck off, out of it all. And it was always in this way that he would speak of it, in what effectively were verifications of the fact, regretfully, but without either anger or enthusiasm, and without undue vexation as to who or what it was, as a man might say, just before asking for his coat, I have eaten too many oysters. Okay, so this is the second fragment or extraction from the talk, again by Beckett. He was one of those people who can never explain themselves. Any suggestion of an apology, any diminishment of his substance in university hiccups, reductio ad absinium, he called them, made him wince and collapse in hysterics. This was not how he wished to be understood. This was not how he understood understanding. Several entries in his notebooks leave no room for doubt in this connection. I have chosen from them the one that is most illuminating and the most guaranteed to engage you by virtue of its topicality. He writes, quote, I have just read a letter of Proust, I forget to whom, whether a female or, more likely I must say, a male, but anyways, doubtless one of his Albertine de Chopin, in which he explains why he simply cannot blow his nose on Sunday morning before 6 o'clock. The microcosm of his thesis collapsing with all the hauteur proper to a pagoda turned artsy-versy by teleological tergiversations, issues from in a triumphant bolide which atomizes your feelings, end quote. Here is the conclusion of this very letter, quote, so much so that I see myself doomed as a consequence of this baleful confinement in circumstances which, let me assure you, can be traced back to some Merovingian Korea's, I don't know the word, much like Francois, who at this very moment is hurtled and invisible behind the sonorous coffer of my door, stooped over the fatal and exquisite abyss of a titanic sneeze, to breathe the torrents of mucus lava which rise from the depths of my volcanic sabbath, morning snot, and beleaguer the trembling valves of my nostrils, end quote. I've never been able to find this letter. Perhaps Touchaz concocted it out of a whole cloth. It is sufficiently, quote, in the manner of, end quote, to be apocryphal. But this is in no way significant. What concerns us is the Shazian response. He makes his disgust quite explicit. Quote, the fact that he could not blow his nose before 6 o'clock on Sunday morning surprises me not at all. But after his torments of clarifications, I find it completely impossible to understand. Explanations be damned. Gross, justificatory twitchings, the lot of them, dementia, God be praised, is indivisible. Okay, so now I'm going to read something of my own out of that constellation of influences. This is called Blotters. It has an epigraph by Jodorowsky from an interview that you can find online. I think to be alive is weird. To have hands, to have fingers is weird. Do you realize it's weird to have fingers? To have a dick, balls, an asshole, and to eat and shit is weird. It's so weird. To go inside that I have nothing. Inside that I have no nationality. Inside that I have no age. I have no name. I'm not a man. I'm not a human being. Inside, I'm other things. I don't know what I am, but I know I'm not that. Undress, unless unusual, until understand. Until unadvisedly, unbeknown, uncared, understood, unbridled, understood, unison. Unfitted, unsullied, understand. Until under, unwaving, until under, unique, understood, undo, unforgettable, unchanging, unblinkingly, understand, understanding, unquestionably, under, until, unlike, unmindful, until, undress, unbearable, understand, unnecessary, until, unless, underground, unbroken, uninterrupted, understand, uniformly, until, unless, unnecessary, understand, unanimous, understood, unmixed, understood, uneatable, unflexing, unless, until, unless, universe unnoticed, until, unless, unlit, unheard, unknown, uninformed, unhinged, under, unbuttoned, unsaid, uncertain, unclear, unnameability, unchanged, unlike unit, unless, unadvisedly, unscratchable, under, unexpected, unclasped, undressed, unexpected, unpacked, untwisted, unmerited, unavoidable, uncertified, unprecedented, unfreighted, unlikely, unnecessary, unworthiness, unprompted, unearthed, undressed, unique, unresolved, unmistakably, unless, unpleasant, unfortunately, unless, unearthed, unless, understood, unless, united, unpleasant, under, undoubtedly, understand, under, unbeknownst, unmanned, undress, under, unused, unexceptionable, unless, unknowing, undressed, under, undressing, union, under, unchanging, unseen, unless, unknowing, unjustifiably, unfortunately, unqualified, unphilosophical, universals, unable, uniting, understand, unfortunate, untrue, untidy, unity, uncertainty, until, universal, under, unidirectional, unrelieved, unknown, unknowable, uncle, unthinkable, unceasing, understand, until, understanding, unforeseen, unique, unfortunately, unfamiliar, unbuttoned, undressed, unnecessary, unmitigated, undisguised, unless uniform, under uniform, uniform, unruly, under, unbuttoned, even, uneven, until unknown, unbuttoned, understandable, unwittingly, unlike, unwinding, unit, unfathomable, unscrupulousness, unknown, until understood, understand, undertone, understand, until, unless, unhappier, under, unforgettable, understand, unknown, unknown, unfinished, unfinished, unknown, unfinished, unknown, unfinished, unknown, 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 unfinished, unfinished, unfinished. Okay, so this next poem, which is the last one I'll read, Alfred North Whitehead becomes somehow Alfred Jensen, a painter who you could also look up online. I don't know what happened to Alfred North Whitehead or how this happened, but there's Alfreds. So this poem is called Arkansas. An elegy to stand back from. There your homage prods. Don't breathe in, black out. Completely off behavior for the first time in days. It's also fine. Don't breathe in, don't breathe. To both work products. Mean it looks home took, low dose appreciation thread, giving velocity yourself drawn out. Bitter with aim, your distrust extent, everything you agree with. Mouth that it was, mound mind, your laws. Waste repeats intent enough, spangles easiest the resin you eat, you can think of, mistakes never bluff. I'm either with the beverages planets for an index, finger, hold on, hands out at both receptions. Eat your dispensaries, history's mouth, that it was between dependencies, bit to be left over. Tiny crusts, domes urge, swoon dromad, gone clutch, that prefix, that swift runner, drones, chrome, blocks. Have you ever tried copying? There's something once taken, grave, again with your big strong boss, flat out, that sake for nothing anymore that day, love you, nice hot. 4 cupfuls poured on hot stone. Over 20 years, the 4 cups become your arms and legs. 11 halves of 11 circles on both sides, with a quinary dark spectrals and a total infinity of 10. Squares solar time, the sun called to its lunations. The idea of the sun will be the sun itself, existing in the mud, not indeed formally as it exists in the sky, but objectively, hollow exchanged between stutterings, better left certain with intruders, to back unfortunate detectables in memory of. Pretty much, what are you harboring? Should I black the big day once you feel you've matched cavities, or squat more gotten out of daylight? 2 panels to analytical calculus, to that dad the museum offers. No, more like that, 10,000, 20,000, 20,000, 10,000 insists. Sophists, astrologers, charismatic teachers, populists, notaries, charlatans. With which is it? With which there, with which is with, cough. With which is sought, with at a tree there. With which is there are birds in the water there. With which look, botched lone. With which looks away. With which what mistakes nothing, disorder with. What eats, commits, what eats, what commits with. What commits, what eats, commits, what eats with. Thanks.